Procurement Planning Guideline Part 2 of 3. Procurement Planning and Scheduling. Procurement planning takes precedence over procurement scheduling. When scheduling procurements, the information acquired during the planning phase is also employed. The procurement plan and the procurement schedule are often combined into one document, however, they are normally different papers. As previously stated, the procurement plan comprises a description of the procurement demand, the procurement category, goods, services, or works, an estimated cost for each requirement, the procurement method, the asking entity's name or identity code, and the planned contract award date. In contrast, the procurement schedule is a more thorough version of the procurement strategy. The procurement schedule incorporates all of the data from the plan and offers a date for completing each phase, milestone, of the procurement process, from technical specifications and scope of work preparation to contract award. The purchasing entity should be notified of the needs for each budget cycle in advance so that they may be included in the preliminary procurement plan that kicks off the procurement planning process. For requesting organizations to have a more realistic concept of the procurement lead time of each of their requirements, procurement planning should be incorporated even during the demand determination stage. It is critical to involve the procuring entity in identifying procurement requirements as early as possible because the procuring entity is familiar with the procurement methods applicable to each requirement and can alert the requesting entities if their expectations are too ambitious given the expected procurement lead time for each procurement method. This knowledge, as well as the capacity to tell the asking body at an early stage, aids in the development of a more realistic procurement timeline. The purchasing body should prepare a list of all prospective requirements during the preliminary procurement planning stage in order to know the quantity of requirements scheduled for the time. The procurement entity can utilize this information to help with determining expected workload over the period and any need for additional staff and allows the procuring entity to determine how realistic the expected fulfillment dates are, given the procurement lead time of each procurement method used. Once the list of requirements is compiled, the procuring entity must consider the following 7 questions. Question number 1. Are there any opportunities for packaging or consolidating similar requirements for economies of scale? Question number 2. When is the expected contract award date for each requirement? Question number 3. What are the different procurement methods that will be used? Question number 4. What is the expected procurement lead time of each procurement method? Question number 5. Are there any dependent requirements? Question number 6. What are the sources of supply for goods to be procured? Question number 7. Is there a need for hiring technical assistants to prepare technical specifications, scope of work or for inspection and testing? The responses to the preceding questions will provide the procurement entity with an indication of what to expect during the time, allowing them to advise the asking entities accordingly. The purchasing body can finish the procurement plan only when the needs have been approved and a budget assigned to each. To do so, the procurement entity need the following: a list of all the approved requirements expected to be procured over the period, usually 1 year. The expected contract award dates. The budget allocated for each requirement. The requesting entity's name or identity code. The procurement category, goods, services, or works. By having the above, the procuring entity will be able to determine what is needed, when and the relationship/dependency between requirements. If the expected contract award date is realistic given the procurement method and corresponding procurement lead time. Possibilities for consolidation of similar requirements for ease of management and economies of scale. What requirements need to be expedited given the urgency of need and procurement lead time? Before finishing the procurement strategy, it is critical to identify who will be in charge of preparing the technical specifications, terms of reference, and scope of work. This is critical and must be tightly coordinated to ensure that current businesses have the competence to prepare these papers. It is also critical to evaluate the time required to develop these papers, since any delay in drafting technical specifications, terms of reference, or scope of work would cause the contract award to be delayed. Delays in completing each phase of the process as described in the procurement schedule are one of the most significant barriers to awarding contracts on time. As a result, any time an organization other than procurement is in charge of developing the technical specifications, terms of reference, and scope of work, close cooperation is required to ensure that it is taken into account during procurement planning and scheduling. Such work ensures the development of a more realistic procurement schedule, which impacts the acquisition of key products and services required not only for government operations, but also for social, educational, health, and other public services. Procurement scheduling. A procurement schedule can be generated in a variety of ways. The most essential thing to remember is the substance. The procurement schedule should encompass all the processes in the process, explicitly defining the start and end dates for each step or milestone. The procurement schedule should start with the development of specifications, for products and services, and terms of reference, for services. This is the start of the process and should be computed so that the completion of this stage can be established. The simplest method to achieve this is to know when a contract is likely to be awarded based on the requirement and then plan backward to know when the approved specification or terms of reference should be available. Because of the complexity and uniqueness of the requirements, only someone with expertise can adequately estimate the time it will take to write the specifications or terms of reference of a given demand. This is significant because if this period is not precisely estimated, the entire schedule is thrown off. As a result, we must carefully calculate this time frame to enable enough time to finalize the specifications or terms of reference and commence the procurement process on time. The bid/proposal assessment period is another time that is normally beyond the procurement entity's control, because evaluation panel members might originate from entities other than the procurement company. As a result, how they spend their time is determined by how devoted they are to completing the review process as quickly as possible. As a result, the assessment duration must be properly planned in order for the review to take place within the predicted time frame. The quantity of bids/proposals submitted also influences the length of the review process. Contract discussions are a possible bottleneck, therefore provide extra time for them when they are needed. We all know that plans are rarely carried out exactly as they were intended. Schedules for procurement are no exception. This is mostly due to the fact that when we plan, we are estimating how long things will take based on our knowledge and expertise, and given uncertainties and factors outside our control, any missed milestones might result in delays in completing the procurement process. Delays in the execution of the procurement timetable must thus be kept to a minimum, since they will have an influence on contract award and completion, as well as service delivery. Tools used in procurement planning. To handle various parts of the procurement process, numerous types of tools are employed. Here are a few commonly used matrices in procurement planning. Number 1. Steepled analysis. Businesses use steepled analysis to measure external factors of the business environment to predict economic growth. This tool can help determine strategic planning and decision-making and predict consumer purchasing power. STEEPLE is an acronym for social, technological, economic, environmental, political, legal, ethical and demographic. Conducting this analysis takes time and resources to execute. Still, companies use this crucial research tool to get a stronger sense of factors outside the brand's control that might impact business. Number 2. Risk versus impact matrix. Purpose: risks must be assessed and prioritized based on their likelihood and possible impact. How to use: identify and rate various hazards linked with procurement operations, then plot them on a matrix based on likelihood and effect. This aids in concentrating attention on high-priority risks. Number 3. Supplier performance matrix. Purpose: to assess and compare the performance of various providers. How to use: make a matrix containing the names of suppliers and performance criteria like delivery time, quality, and response. Against determining strengths and shortcomings, compare each provider to these criteria. Number 4. Cost-benefit analysis matrix. Purpose: to compare the costs and advantages of various procurement options. How to use: costs connected with each procurement alternative, including acquisition expenses, operations costs, and possible benefits, should be listed. This enables educated judgments to be made based on the total cost-benefit ratio. Number 5. SWOT analysis matrix. Purpose: internal strengths and weaknesses, as well as external opportunities and dangers, must be evaluated. How to use: make a matrix with 4 quadrants for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and dangers. To inform strategic procurement strategy, identify and list elements in each quadrant. Number 6. Requirements versus suppliers matrix. Purpose: to match particular procurement needs with probable providers' capabilities. How to use: in one column, list purchase needs, and in another, probable providers. Assess and match the capabilities of vendors to the needs, assisting in supplier selection. Number 7. Procurement method matrix. Purpose: based on project criteria, select the best procurement technique. How to use: list alternative procurement strategies and identify critical project features, complexity, urgency, and financial limits, e.g., competitive bidding, sole sourcing. Determine which approach best meets the needs of the project. Number 8. Decision matrix. Purpose: to assess and compare multiple solutions based on established criteria. How to use: list several procurement alternatives and criteria in rows and columns. To make an educated selection, assign weights to each criterion based on relevance and analyze each alternative against these criteria. Number 9. Compliance matrix. Purpose: to verify that procurement procedures are in accordance with applicable laws, rules, and standards. How to use: make a matrix with 1 column for compliance standards and another for procurement processes. Check off each criteria as you complete it to demonstrate compliance. These matrices give an organized approach to procurement planning, assisting firms in making informed decisions, risk management, and process optimization. Depending on the nature of the procurement project and organizational preferences, the specific matrices employed may differ. Using a combination of these tools enables organizations to conduct comprehensive procurement planning, leading to more informed and strategic decision-making in the acquisition of goods and services. The specific tools chosen may depend on the nature and scale of the procurement activities and the organization's unique requirements. I hope you enjoyed this video, and before leaving, if you have not already subscribed this channel, make sure to subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get updates when I post new videos. Provide your feedback in comments. You can download material from the below links under video.